One of the things I really like about calisthenics is the diversity in the training. Now, sometimes this is just good because it's nice to mix things up, but sometimes it's good because mentally I'm just not in the right state to do a typical strength training session. I just don't really have it in me to go all out. And on days like that, I like to just focus on skills. It's a nice mental break, it's a nice physical break, and it allows me to stay productive without feeling bad that I'm not technically doing a real workout. I'm still moving my body, I'm still physical, I'm still making progress, even if the goal isn't strength and hypertrophy. So to get started with a workout like this, I like to spend a lot of time warming up, just making sure my joints are real loose, ready to go. And then I also like to mix in some cardio as well. One, to warm my body up even more, but also because I am focused a little bit more on cardio right now, especially double unders with my jump rope game. But once I was warmed up, I immediately went into my handstand practice. Of course, starting off with just a basic handstand to get my balance right, make sure that I can hold a handstand for a decent amount of time before I move on to some of the more difficult moves that I'm working on. Once my wrists are warmed up and I feel like my handstand is dialed in, then I move on to some of the harder stuff like a freestanding handstand. And here I'm not targeting any specific rep range or any specific number of reps. I'm focused on doing as many reps as I can while staying balanced because that's my biggest limiting factor right now. And that's one of the reasons for a skill workout like this is that mentally and physically, I don't have to focus purely on strength, purely on executing the rep. I know I have the reps in the tank. It's just a matter of dialing in that balance and becoming more comfortable with the body movement involved in the handstand push-up. Unfortunately, today was not my day. I felt really strong. I felt like I had a lot of pushing strength, but after a rep or two, I would lose my balance and, it's just one of those days sometimes. Sometimes the balance isn't there, and today was one of those days, even though my handstand warm-up at the beginning felt really solid. After a few rounds of handstand push-ups, then I worked on to press handstands. I have admittedly not been working on this skill too much lately, so honestly, even though these might not be the prettiest press handstands you've ever seen, I was pretty happy with them just because I haven't practiced the skill that long, and pushing up from the ground position, I actually performed much better than I expected to. So after a few rounds of that, I then move on to press handstand negatives. This is something I like doing with harder skills that I'm not super good at yet. So I'll do a couple press handstands and then afterwards do some press handstand negatives. Just like I would with pull-ups earlier on when I was lifting, I would do a few sets of pull-ups, and then once I was done, I would pair that with some negative pull-ups. And then today, because I was feeling particularly good during the workout, I decided to end it with some complementary exercises to my skill training. So here I'm just doing handstand push-ups against a wall, so I don't have to focus on balance. I can focus purely on my pressing strength. And then I also did some straddle and pike leg lifts against the wall to strengthen my hip flexors, which honestly is a huge weak point, and this is an exercise I hate doing, so that's one of the reasons why I do it. The exercises I hate the most, I find tend to be some of the most valuable, so those are the things I try to make sure are in a lot of my workouts. And once I was done with my training, I made my wife and I some pumpkin protein pancakes. These were amazing. If you want a link, I'll have the recipe in the description. Have any comments about my training? Feel free to leave a comment below.